Hi, my name is Melinda, and I had this idea a little while back that I was going to do a Let's Read for the Abarat books by Clive Barker. And I wanted to do this in particular because quite a few of my friends had not heard of the books before, and I thought this was kind of sad because I love them to death. And I know that sometimes, people don't have the time to just pick up a book and read. But, sometimes they'll be able to do something on the computer and have YouTube running in the background, like listen to music or something. And they could listen to a Let's Read while they're, playing Sudoku, or while they're trying to write out an essay, or while they're reading the news. So, I'm going to be starting this Let's Read, and I hope you like it. I would like to thank my mother, because she actually helped me figure out what was going on with my webcam that wasn't letting me upload directly to YouTube before. So, Abarat by Clive Barker. To a million, David Armstrong. I dreamed a limitless book, a book unbound. It leaves scattered in fantastic abundance. On every line there was a new horizon drawn, new heavens supposed, new states, new souls. One of those souls, dozing through some imagined afternoon, dreamed those worlds, and needing a hand to set them down, made mine. Prologue. The mission. 3 is the number of those who do holy work. 2 is the number of those who do lovers' work. 1 is the number of those who do perfect good, perfect evil, or perfect good. From the notes of a monk of the order of St. Oko, his name unknown. The storm came up out of the southwest like a fiend, stalking its prey on legs of lightning. The wind it brought with it was as foul as the devil's own breath, and it stirred up the peaceful waters of the sea. By the time the little red boat that the 3 women had chosen for their perilous voyage had emerged from the shelter of the islands and was out in the open waters, the waves were as steep as cliffs, 25, 30 feet tall. "Somebody sent this storm," said Joyfie, who was doing her best to steer the boat, which was called the Lyre. The sails shook like a leaf in a tempest, swinging back and forth wildly, nearly impossible to hold down. "I swear, Diamanda, this is no natural storm." Diamanda, the oldest of the 3 women, sat in the center of the tiny vessel with her dark blue robes gathered around her and their precious cargo gathered to her bosom. "Let's not get hysterical," she told Joyfie and Mespa. She wiped a long piece of white hair out of her eyes. "Nobody saw us leave the Palace of Bowers. We escaped unseen, I'm certain of it." "So why the storm?" said Mespa, who was a black woman, renowned for her resilience, but now who looked close to being washed away by the rain beating down on the women's heads. "Why are you so surprised that the heavens complain?" Diamanda said. "Didn't we know the world would be turned upside down, but what just happened?" Joyfie fought with the sail, cursing it. "Indeed, isn't this the way it should be?" Diamanda went on. "Isn't it right that the sky is torn to tatters and the sea is put in a frenzy? Would we prefer it if the world did not care?" "No, no, of course not," said Mespa, holding on to the edge of the pitching boat, her face as white as her close-cropped hair was black. "I just wish we weren't out in the middle of it all." "Well, we are," said the old woman, "and there is not a thing any of us can do about it. So I suggest you finish emptying your stomach, Mespa." "It is," empty, the sick woman said. I have nothing left to bring up. And you, Joyfie, handle the sail? Oh, goddesses, Joyfie murmured. Look! What is it? Said Diamanda. Joyfie pointed up into the sky. Several stars had been shaken down from the firmament, great white cobs of fire piercing the clouds and falling seaward. One of them was headed directly towards the lyre. Down! Joyfie yelled, catching hold of the back of Diamanda's robes and pushing the old woman off her seat. Diamanda hated to be touched. Manhandling, she called it. She started to berate Joyfie roundly for what she'd done, but was drowned out by the roaring sound of the falling star as it rushed down towards the vessel. It burst the billowing sail of the lyre, burning a hole right through the canvas, and then plunged into the sea, where it was extinguished with a great hissing sound. I swear that was meant for us, Mespa said when they had all raised their heads from the boards. She helped Diamanda to her feet. All right, the old lady replied, yelling over the din of the seething waters. That was closer than I would have liked. So you think we are targets? I don't know and I don't care, Diamanda said. We just have to trust to the holiness of our mission. Mespa licked her pale lips before she chanced her next words. Are we sure it's holy? She said. Perhaps what we're doing is sacrilegious. Perhaps she should be left to rest in peace, said Joyfie. Yes, Mespa replied. She was barely more than a girl, Mespa, Joyfie said. She had a life of perfect love ahead of her, and it was stolen. Joyfie's right, said Diamanda. Do you think a soul like hers would sleep quietly with so much life left to live? So many dreams that she never saw come true? Mespa nodded. You're right, of course, she conceded. We must do this work, whatever the cost. The thunderhead that had followed them from the island was now directly overhead. It threw down a vile, icy rain, thick as phlegm, which struck the boards of the lyre like drumming. The lightning came down around the trembling vessel on every side, its lurid light throwing the curling waves into silhouette as they rose to break over the boat. The sail's no use to us now, said Joyfie, looking up at the tattered canvas. Then we must find other means, said Diamanda. Mespa, take hold of our cargo for a few moments, and be careful. With great reverence, Mespa took the small box, its sides and lid decorated with the closely etched lines of talismans. Relieved of her burden, Diamanda walked down to the stern of the lyre, the pitching of the boat threatening several times to throw her over to the side before she reached the safety of the little seat. There she knelt and leaned forward, plunging her arthritic hands into the icy waters. You'd best be careful, Mespa warned her. There's a 50-foot mantizak that's been following us for the last half hour. I saw it when I was throwing up. No self-respecting fish is going to want my old bones. She'd no sooner spoken than the mottled head of a mantizak, not quite the size Mespa had described, but still huge, broke surface. Its vast maw gaped not more than a foot from Diamanda's outstretched arms. Goddess! The old lady yelled, withdrawing her hands and sitting up sharply. The frustrated fish pushed against the back of the boat, as if to nudge one of the human morsels on board into its own element. So, said Diamanda, I think this calls for some moon magic. Wait, said Joyfie. You said if we used magic we would risk drawing attention to ourselves. So I did, Diamanda replied, but in our present state we risk drowning or being eaten by that thing. The mantizak was now moving up the side of the lyre, turning its enormous head and fixing the women with its silver and scarlet eye. Mespa clutched the little box even closer to her bosom. It won't take me, she said, a profound terror in her voice. No, said Diamanda reassuringly, it won't. She raised her aged hands. Dark threads of energy moved through her veins and leaped from her fingertips, forming delicate shapes on the air, and then fled heavenward. Lady Moon, she called, you know we would not call on you unless we needed your intervention. So we do. Lady, we three are of no consequence. We ask not this boon, not for ourselves, but for the soul of one who was taken from among us before she was ready to leave. Please, lady, bear us all safe through this storm, so that her life may find continuance. Name our destination! Joyfie yelled over the roar of the water. She knows our minds, Diamanda said. Even so, Joyfie replied. Name it! Diamanda glanced back at her companion, faintly irritated. If you insist, she said. Then, reaching towards the sky again, she said, Take us to the hereafter. Good, said Joyfie. Lady, hear us? Diamanda started to say. But she was interrupted by Mespa. She heard Diamanda. What? She heard. The three women looked up. The roiling storm clouds were parting, as though pressed aside by titanic hands. Through the widening slit there came a shaft of moonlight, the purest white, yet somehow warm. It illuminated the trough between the waves where the women's boat was buried. It covered the vessel from end to end with light. Thank you, lady, Diamanda murmured. The moonlight was moving over the boat, searching out each and every part of the tiny vessel, even to the shadowy keel that lay beneath the water. It blessed every nail and board from prow to stern, every grommet, every oar, every pivot, every fleck of paint, every inch of rope. It touched the women too, inspiring fresh life into their weary bones and warming their icy skin. All of this took perhaps 10 seconds. Then the clouds began to close again, cutting the moonlight off. Just as abruptly as it had begun, the blessing was over. The sea seemed doubly dark when the light had passed away, the wind keener. But the timbers of the boat had acquired a subtle luminescence from the appearance of the moon, and they were stronger for the benediction they had received. The boat no longer creaked when it was broadsided. Instead, it seemed to rise effortlessly up the steps of the waves. That's better, said Diamanda. She reached out to reclaim their precious cargo. I can take care of it, Mespa protested. I'm sure you can, said Diamanda, but the responsibility lies with me. I know the world we're going to, remember? You don't. You remember the way it was, Joyfie reminded her, but it will have changed. Very possibly, Diamanda agreed, but I still have a better idea of what lies ahead of us than you two do. Now give me the box, Mespa. Mespa handed the treasure over, and the women's vessel carved its way through the lightless sea, picking up speed as it went, the bow lifting a little way above the waters. The rain continued to beat down on the women's heads, gathering in the bottom of the boat until it was 4 inches deep, but the voyagers took no notice of its assault. They simply sat together in grateful silence as the magic of the moon hurried them towards their destination. There, said Joyfie. She pointed off toward the distant shore. I see the hereafter. I see it too, said Mespa. Oh, thank the goddess. I see it. I see it. Hush yourselves, Diamanda said. We don't want to draw attention. It looks empty, Joyfie said, scanning the landscape ahead. You said there was a town. There is a town, but it's a little distance from the harbor. I see no harbor. Well, there's not much of it left, Diamanda said. It was burned down long before my time. The keel of the Lyre was grating on the shore of the hereafter. Joyfie was out first, hauling down the rope and securing it to a piece of aged timber that was driven into the ground. Mespa helped the Diamanda out, and the three of them stood side by side, assessing the unpromising landscape spread before them. The storm had followed them across the divide between the two worlds, its fury undimmed. Now, let's remember, said Diamanda. We're here to do one thing and one thing only. We get our business done and then we leave. Remember, we should not be here. We know that, said Mespa. But let's not be hasty and make a mistake, Joyfie said, glancing at the box Diamanda carried. For her sake, we have to do this right. We carry the hopes of the Abarat with us. Even Diamanda was quieted by this remark. She seemed to meditate on it for a long moment, her head downturned, the rain washing her white hair into curtains that framed the box she held. Then she said, "Are you both ready?" The other women murmured that yes, they were, and with Diamanda leading the way, they left the shore and headed through the rain-lashed grass to find the place where Providence had arranged they would do their holy work. And so ends chapter 1. I'm gonna try to do 1 chapter per video so that I don't make the videos too long, and I'm not a professional, I don't know, well, I'm sure you get what I'm trying to say. I don't speak a lot in this kind of context, so anyway, I would like to say that if anybody that reads this, or if anybody that watches this has any pronunciation guides for the names of the characters in Abarat, then please link me to them. And if you have any constructive criticism, I'm open to hearing it. And I hope you enjoy it. And if people, want more, I can try to put up another video later. And, well, hope to see you next time. Bye.